Hey there, I am Sam Ewan from CoinDesk Studios. I am here with Heather Goldman from EQBR, and we're just going to have a conversation on what EQBR is, what you guys are doing here at CES. And first, I would just love you to introduce yourself and sort of tell us who you are and what you do at EQBR.
My name is Heather Goldman. I'm with EQBR, which is a Seoul and Singapore-based blockchain company, and I'm the CFO of the U.S. enterprise, bringing all of our commercialized blockchain and Web3 solutions to the U.S.
So, in terms of your role there, I know we spoke earlier, you're kind of on the business, the solutioning. How do we think about bringing this to a mass market, right? So we're at CES, it's one of the largest sort of conferences focused on innovation. Tell us a little bit about kind of what are the innovations that EQBR is bringing both here as well as in Asia already.
So two of the most important innovations that we're bringing to the blockchain industry in the Web3 world is interoperability of blockchain solutions and commercial applications for enterprise. So one of those solutions that we've commercialized in Asia is what we call EQ Hub. EQ Hub is a no-code blockchain, and it's the ability for developers to build without code a tokenized economy in 30 minutes without needing to actually build directly onto the network.
I mean, no code is having a moment right now, so it sounds like you guys are part of that. So this really means you can take the engineer somewhat out of the equation and get the core infrastructure without a sort of giant dev team. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. We basically solve your development problem and solution for you.
And when we were talking, you mentioned that you guys had already launched in Asia, and at CES, this is kind of your big US launch. So why don't you tell us kind of what you're bringing to the US, what are you talking about here at CES, and why do you think that will work in this new market?
Well, EQ Hub is clearly an important part of it. We also are bringing what we feel is a very transformational portal to the blockchain through our Whisper Messenger app. And the Whisper Messenger app is, in addition to a secure messaging function, it's a digital wallet, it is a browser functionality, and it's integrated into all of the solutions that we're providing for our clients. So, for example, one of the solutions that we have deployed commercially is for a company called Xing, which is a mobility scooter electric company in Korea. And we have built out an upgraded mileage wallet program for them that's delivered all through the Whisper Messenger app. We think it's an incredible solution for mileage, for rewards, for consumer B2C applications. So for companies looking to provide a better user experience for their customers, we can now do what was traditionally done in the Web2 world in Web3. And I would say one of the core ethics of how we're approaching the commercial business world is we are working with Web3 companies who are early adopters about how to move from certain blockchains onto other Web3 solution infrastructures. But we also are working with Web2 companies that have been reluctant or haven't necessarily seen the commercial value of Web3. And so our solutions are now being able to go to enterprise and give them a reason that without needing to understand what the blockchain is or what it does. We don't even need to talk about the blockchain. Let's talk about the value propositions and the commercial benefits for enterprise and for your customers.
So I think you're hitting on something that's really interesting, which is we're hearing a lot about loyalty and membership being kind of this big unlock for the blockchain. So it sounds like with the scooter company, the idea of really just a miles reward program, the more you scoot, the more you get. Blockchain, especially with EQ and the EQ Hub, allows you to sort of make that happen, bring it to life.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. You mentioned the Whisper MSG product. You said there's about 2 million folks already downloaded in Asia.
Correct.
Right? Super apps are already kind of a thing that are known in Asia. How do we think we can break into the US market with a super app product, and what do you think is the sort of differentiator that you have?
Well, it has to start with an exceptional user experience, and it has to be better than what you currently can do through a traditional cloud-based browser environment. So being able to reference the success of the super app adoption rates in Asia, we think we can bring a lot of those lessons to enhancing adoption rates here in the States. Embedding it into the user and customer experience is a very important aspect of that. Our super app, our Whisper application, in addition to the secure messenger, is also providing games. We are constantly adding new applications into the Whisper Messenger to bring more and more functionality and features to it, bring in more and more interoperability between different aspects of the wallet features and functions. So if you build something that your customers can love, we think that we can entice people into looking at us as really a portal into the Web3 world.
So you mentioned there's a bunch of games on the Whisper app, more games coming.
Right.
I know your founder has a background in gaming.
Yes.
So can you kind of tell us how he went from gaming to blockchain?
Well, how he went from gaming to blockchain is the origin story of EQBR.
Love to hear it.
Our founder and chairman, Mr. Paul G. Lee, was one of the earliest creators of the gaming industry, and literally almost 30 years ago to the day, he founded his first gaming company. And as a content creator and someone who has been involved in gaming, in music distribution, and film, he got curious about blockchain. You know, as someone who deals with systems that have many, many users, that have to have super high performance, and looking at some of the limitations of some of the more legacy type blockchain products that were built for other purposes necessarily than kind of content management and distribution and customer experience, he started playing around with it. Now, this is a group of engineers at this company. We have a very deep development and technical team who come best and the brightest, who come from some of the most prestigious universities and computer science backgrounds in the world. And so playing around with the systems and technology, Mr. Lee called me about 5 years ago saying, I think we've invented something here, Heather. And that was the beginning of my relationship with this company, really advising the holding company and the founder as we spent 2 to 3 years developing the technology and then subsequently commercializing it and demonstrating it. Because at the end of the day, developers like to build products people use.
Right.
And rather than just being in a dark room building things, we started approaching enterprise customers and putting these applications out to market so that we've got real live test use cases that validate blockchain, validate Web3, and that we can apply these technologies to the commercial enterprise world.
And I mean, it sounds like not only, your founder had this background in gaming, came into this, you come from the Wall Street world. So
Yes.
I'm also sort of interested in what your like onboard moment was where you felt that blockchain was going to be something and why you wanted to spend your time in it.
Well, this company in particular has been working on a venture to fractionalize alternative assets. And as someone who has spent nearly 30 years in the global capital markets and seen the evolution of the development of financial products from strictly institutional products to the ability for retail customers and investors to get the same quality of investment products as institutional investors have historically had access to, for me, one of the benefits of blockchain is it can address some of the fundamental issues associated with product packaging, which is cost of distribution, the cost of creating new financial products and distributing those products, and disseminating the information that's required for it. I think what's happened and is happening increasingly that will drive adoption of financial products that are blockchain based in the next generation version of financial products. It will integrate itself into a regulatory environment, which will help drive adoption. And it's making fractionalized assets a real possibility. So we recently announced the first Korean government approval for a real estate fractionalized asset program with IGIS, which is one of the largest real estate owners, asset management companies with about 50 billion US of assets under management, along with Shinhan Banking Financial System, a $70+ billion banking group with global reach. And so we're working with them to issue and launch security token offerings. And what's interesting about security token offerings, we talked about the Whisper Messenger app. We now are integrating not just the token economy, but we're putting it on an interface that the customer, the investor, the end user can manage their investments and can manage and retain an active relationship with the investment management company that's issuing the tokens. So those were some of the factors, as someone who is fascinated about the democratization of finance, that my aha moment was, this is real, we can do this, these are real products, these aren't just conceptually what we might be able to do in the financial world, but we now actually can issue these products on the blockchain.
And it sounds like, just to sort of wrap up, that you guys are really focused on both the kind of down to the consumer layer, how is it existing on a phone or on a device, as well as the enterprise layer with the blockchain and the no-code solutions. So really trying to sort of span all opportunity for people to sort of engage however they feel they need to engage personally or for their business. Is that correct?
There's no enterprise without the customer,
right,
and without the consumer. And so if the enterprise can have a better relationship with that customer, and the customer can have a better UI and a better user experience with the company, that's going to drive loyalty, it's going to drive retention. And these are new tools and technologies that are facilitating the enterprise and the customer relationship.
That's amazing. Heather Goldman, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I hope you have a great time here at CES, and we look forward to seeing what else comes out of EQBR.